Christos Tzolis has signed for Arsenal Football Club. We hope it's the first, but by no means the last where attacking signings are concerned. So let's speak about him. And I know some of you are going, who, this, that, but it's not Rodgers, it's not this, that, and the third. I hear that, I share with that. We'll circle back over that. Just allow me to walk you through one, two things. As you lot know, Arsenal have officially confirmed the signing of former Club Brugge man Christos Tzolis, obviously in a 35 to 40 million pound deal. The 24-year-old forward joins us from Club Brugge, as I just said. He played 108 times in all comps and got 43 goals and 45 assists, people, for the Belgian side. Now, I know everyone's going to go, who is this, that, and the other? He's not a level raiser. I promise we're going to circle back over that. But I like him. And what I like better is how he's conducted himself in the interview. Now, whether he's aced his job interview and what we see in reality is a different thing. But would this not interest you guys? I mean, the first thing that I'm drawn to, Tzolis, I'm always hungry to score. Arsenal need players, or specifically attacking players who want to score goals. He wants to score goals. I'm all for it. We're starving for goal scorers. He's hungry to score. Tzolis is not coming in talking like a passenger. He's basically saying, I know what Arsenal are. I know the league. I've been humbled before. I'm direct. I want goals and I'm ready to compete. He's not a Hollywood superstar, so I don't expect it to be a Hollywood superstar interview. This is a player who's hungry, if I'm completely honest with you. Seems he's hungry. And there were some key elements. The first thing I liked is, obviously, he called us champions of England, and he's technically a champion of Belgium. He called Arsenal a massive club, and he made acknowledgements on the pressure that is on Arsenal in terms of wanting to win trophies. He's not acting like he's doing Arsenal a favour or Arsenal are doing him a favour. As stated, he knows the standards, the pressure that comes with walking into a title-winning dressing room, and the size of the task at head. It's one thing winning, it's another thing retaining. Clearly, Arteta sold him on the plan at this football club, whether it was due to analytics or whatever, and Arteta was the sweetener. But naturally, that's something I was drawn to. His identity is end product. Of course, we're going to learn a lot more about him beyond goals and assists. But his own words read to me, basically, I'm a direct winger. I like the final pass. I get goals, I get assists, and there's hard work there defensively. And that's the bit Arsenal fans need to clock. He's not describing himself as a vibes winger or a touchline merchant. He's saying, I want goals, I'm direct, I want assists, I want to affect the scoreboards, people. By all means, you can question the league level, that's fair, but you can't pretend the brother hasn't produced goals, assists, Champions League contributions, title in a title-winning season. There's something to work with here, and there's real output. As I said, it speaks for itself. And one thing that drew me with his interview and something around Tzolis anyways is he's already had a lesson in England. He arrived at Norwich at 19, ironically made his debut against Arsenal. It didn't bang, and he arrives back to these shores now as a 24-year-old who's had ups and downs in his career, has played in Greece, England, Belgium, Germany, and in Champions League games. This is not someone that needs sheltering. He's already been to England, been humbled, rebuilt himself, as stated, in Belgium and Germany, and now he's coming back wiser, older, stronger, and more ready, people. He understands Arsenal will have more of the ball as well, like he basically, with the greatest of respect, alluded to at Norwich. You're suffering, you're chasing, you're defending and living off scraps. Arsenal obviously have the bulk of possession. It's one thing signing the players, though, Mikel Arteta, and it's above my pay grade. But it's another thing tactically evolving us so that we can break down low blocks, play a lot more quicker and more decisive, create more chances and score some more goals on top of how good we are defensively, people. Naturally, in that interview, he said we're one of the hardest teams he's faced. I did like how he spoke about wanting to face competition. He knows it's going to be competitive, but says that's a necessary evil for a big club. If I'm honest, that's the mentality I want. He can't, but he's not asking for guarantees. He knows he has to show it in training, train hard, and earn minutes. And at Arsenal, that's the level. He came into the move already fit. He spoke about training during the holidays and trying to hit the ground running as pre-season preparations begin. He kept saying he wants to settle, play, and win titles and score his first Emirates goal, people. Now, that might sound small, but that shows me hunger and desire. He's saying the right things. Obviously, he has to improve it. But as a first interview, I don't see arrogance. I don't see fear. I only see hunger, if I'm honest. I would say this as well, Arsenal fans, and I mean this with all wealth to you lot, but it's something we need to bear in mind. I think you lot are very unfair to Christos Tzolis, whether he's a success or a failure or he's mediocre or not. My message to Arsenal fans is simple. Don't punish Tzolis because you wanted 100 million superstar. So did I. Judge him for what he is. A 24-year-old winger with output, hunger, and Champions League experience, Premier League scars, and a point to prove. If Arsenal sign him and stop there, that's on the club. But the player deserves an opportunity to show his worth, people. And at 35 million, if I'm honest, Arsenal are not just buying numbers. We're buying someone hungry, potentially could be clutch, owing to Trossard's departure. And if I'm honest, I like his character. And he's shown he's a big game player. You look at it, he's got 8 goals in 10 playoff games in the 25-26 season to help Club Brugge win the title, people. For those of you that don't understand the context, the Belgian leagues has playoffs where the top 6 go at each other. So the pressure goes up at the business end of the season even more. And that's the bit I like. Anyone can stat pad when the pressure's calm. But when the season got serious, when Club Brugge needed players to step up, Zolis stepped up. 8 goals in 10 playoff games tells me he doesn't hide when the lights come on. Arsenal need players who don't just look good in the easy times and when the sun's shining in August. Can you do it in the winter months? We need players who can turn up when the title is being decided. And to be fair, whatever you have to say about the existing players, every one of those had their moments, people. And then there's other things, people. Again, whether you rate him or not, 135 chance created, 40 dribbles completed, 359 progressive carries, Belgian Professional Footballer of the Year, and 40 goal contributions in his final season. And I understand the exchange rate from the Belgian League and to the Premier League. And you can say Belgian League, as I just said, that's cool, that's fair. But let's not act like everyone is doing this. Most chances created, most dribbles completed, most progressive carries. That's domination. He wasn't just good. He was one of the faces of the league. And again, league context matters, but domination still matters. This is why I'm more open-minded on him. He's not just a winger who wants the ball to feet and disappears when he's not scoring. He can play in tight spaces. He's got many bows to his arrow. He carries, he presses, he runs, he works hard, and he still finds a way to affect the game. Arteta will always have time for a winger who gives output but still does the ugly work. And again, I want to reiterate character. Character matters at Arsenal on the best of days. We've lacked it at times. Generally, Arteta's brought it back. That's how you win a Premier League trophy. And so you could argue character matters at Arsenal now more than ever. You're walking into a title-winning group. If you're coming in, you can't just be talented. You can't just be here for vibes. You have to add to this environment. And for what they're saying in Belgium, Tzolis wasn't just tolerated, he was loved. And if I'm honest, sometimes the best signings are not just footballers. They're good energy additions to a serious dressing room. And he also spoke about team bonding in that as well, which I really liked. He spoke about renting a beach cabin on the Belgian coast. And again, anyone that understands football, I know that's not really relevant and I don't really care, but it shows his character, people. If you're joining Arsenal, ability gets you through the door. Personality helps you survive the dressing room. That's what you want to hear when you're buying from a smaller league. Not he had a decent season. You don't want to hear, he outgrew the level. That doesn't guarantee Premier League success, but it tells you that a lot of these things could make the move more successful. The question for him is not whether he was good in Belgium. He clearly was. The question is whether Arsenal can turn that dominance that he had in Belgium into making a Premier League impact. Now, we don't know how it's going to correlate, but he's played in Greece, he's played in Belgium, he's played in England, he's played in Holland, so he's well versed on having to adapt in foreign landscapes. And as I said, people, for me as well, I understand. And the main thing isn't actually Zolis' fault. It's cool, bring in your Zolis. But the Rodgers of this world, the Gomaras, the Bacolas, all of these kind of names is what Arsenal fans want to see. I understand that. Me, of all people, understand that. I think we're at that stage where we need to bring superstars. I understand Arsenal fans wanting the superstar signing. I understand people looking at 35 million and saying, is he enough? We won a Premier League. Is someone that we don't know from the Belgium league enough? But we all remember Mo Salah called a Chelsea flop, and then obviously he was in Italy, and you saw it happen. Now, I'm not suggesting that he's going to be Mo Salah. I would love him to be, people. My point being, you have to give individuals a chance. I like what I see. I see you as a squad filler. I'm not expecting fireworks. Obviously, if you can excel and exceed in my expectations, great, people. So I understand the general frustration, which isn't necessarily targeted at Zolis. It's at the Bertas, the Artetas, based on the fact that we want the Premier League and we want to kick on and we're seeing what other people are doing. But we shouldn't punish Zolis for the club's wider transfer frustration. At Club Brugge, he wasn't just putting up empty numbers. He was producing in a big part of the season. He won Player of the Year. He's creating chances. He's carrying the ball. He's scoring. He's assisting. He's doing his defensive work. And he grew in stature and became a big personality in the dressing room. That doesn't mean he's guaranteed to bang in England, but it does mean there's logic here. My issue is not Zolis. My issue would be Arsenal signing Zolis and acting like the job is finished. But as a player at 24 with that mentality, with that output and that big game record, I'm saying give the Donny a chance, man. Don't punish the player for the club's transfer frustrations. As I keep saying, people, I get why Arsenal fans are frustrated. We want signings. We want superstar names. We want the club to move like champions. But we've got to be fair. That frustration cannot be dumped on Zolis. If the player comes in for 35 million at 24 with those numbers he's putting up, there's clearly upside there. You don't have to pretend he's Vinicius. You don't have to pretend he's Saka. You don't have to pretend he's a marquee signing that fixes everything. But you can also be honest and say, this is a productive winger. He gets in the box. He creates. He scores. He assists. and he looks like someone who can add final third threat. My issue wouldn't be with Tzolis. My issue would be if Arsenal signed Tzolis and then acted like the job was finished. And that's for me the key difference. There's a difference between questioning the club's overall ambition and writing off a player before he's kicked the ball. If Tzolis comes in, give the guy a chance, judge him on his role, his price, his profile, and what he adds. Not the fact Arsenal fans, including myself, wanted a £100 million superstar. And then also the numbers are backed up by the profile. 22 goals and 29 assists, Belgium title, strong playoff output, Champions League goals and assists. You can question the league level. That's more than fair. But you can't pretend the brother hasn't produced. Assists, goals, Champions League contributions, title winning season. There is gold there in a sense, people, and there's a real output there. He's already been in this country. At 19, he was at Norwich. It didn't bank. He's now 24, having played in Greece, England, Germany, Belgium, Champions League. This shows me a player, people, I'm not looking at him like some sheltered player. He's already been to England, been humbled, rebuilt himself across Germany and Belgium, and now he's coming back older, stronger, and more ready. It's these ups and downs you need in life. Tells me as well, he also understands Arsenal will have more of the ball, as dumb as it sounds. That's an important point. He's basically saying playing for Norwich and Arsenal are different because Arsenal attack more and have more possession. Naturally, if he said anything different, we're looking at him funny. That's key. At Norwich, and to be fair, it happens with everyone, but at Norwich, generally, you're chasing, defending, living off scraps, suffering. At Arsenal, if you're a winger, you're going to get territory. You're going to have touches around the box. You're going to face low blocks. You're going to have combinations and chances. The real question would be, can his end product translate into a dominant team? You lot know me, Arsenal fans. I think the eye test reigns supreme. But when we marry our limited eye test analysis of Tzolis with a couple of statistics, it leaves food for thought. So let me actually do that and paint a picture for you lot. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Now, I saw this online. Of course, I'm not making a direct comparison between Tzolis and Saka. We know Saka is the best player, people. But just to paint a picture on the sort of player we might be getting, I look at the key bits. You can look on screen, read that all out and all those kind of things. And I'll just read some spill out to you lot. Progressive carries. Tzolis is at 98.1 percentile. Saka is at 83.1. That means Tzolis carries the ball forward at a very high rate among wingers. Dribbles completed. Saka is obviously ahead in the 90s, whether Tzolis is in the 80s. Saka's still cleaner 1v1 demon. Obviously, this matters. Saka beats his man more consistently. Non-penalty goals. Tzolis. This is a big one. Now, obviously, Saka's been injured. He's playing in England versus playing in Belgium, but this is a big one. Tzolis is showing more output compared to his winger group on occasion. Non-penalty XG, he edges Saka as well. That means Tzolis is constantly involved in high-quality chances, either shooting or creating. Assists, he's also showing himself to be quite good. He's in the 90 percentile. He's not just selfish when he needs to be. He's providing assist end product. Key passes, people, not much in it. Both create chances at top level. Crosses completed. He slightly edges Saka. He gives you more supply from wide areas. Of course, and I'm going to spell this out once again. I am not suggesting, and this definitely doesn't mean Tzolis is better than Saka. He's most definitely not. It just shows Tzolis has a statistical profile of a winger who gives you end product, box threat, creation, and carrying. For the right price, this is exactly the kind of market opportunity Arsenal should be looking at. And if it's backed up by the data team, I'm all for that. Again, I want stars. I want level raisers. But as much as I want that, and I think there's occasions where you could argue whether you think Rodgers is overpriced, putting an extra 20 million on that could make sense. Kamara's the same logic. We need to outsmart the market, as cringy as it is. We need to find market opportunities. We need to find emerging talents. It makes sense as a squad filler at 35 odd million quid, people, if I'm completely honest with you. And of course, league context matters. Club Brugge to Arsenal is a massive jump. The Premier League physicality, the pace, the lower block games, the expectations. But the profile is interesting because Arsenal don't just need another neat winger who looks good on occasions. We need someone that has output, box threat, chance creation, final third aggression, someone who can put pressure for spots. He might not be the superstar name, but the data says he might be the type of winger Arsenal fans have actually been asking for. Now, respectfully to the Belgian league, of course, will I describe it as a top 5 league? 100% I don't. But according to Opta Power Rankings, the Belgian Pro League is the 8th toughest in world football with an average team rating 81.8. This is just below the championship. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that tells you that, the championship's tougher. But you never know, people. We do see a pipeline from good players in the championship doing well in the Prem. The championship ranks 7th, by the way. So, yeah, I understand it. I clearly understand there needs to be some level of adaptation. There's clearly an exchange rate. But everybody's got to start somewhere. And you could argue, as much as you can see my point of view, football's the same game. It's still 11 players out there. Can you shoot with your left? Can you shoot with your right? Make your decisions, people. And then, people, if we continue looking at certain things statistically, it does, again, it looks quite interesting. And this is where I think Arsenal's links to Zolis and ultimately buying him makes sense stylistically. Because again, he's not a touchline winger, really. He's a final third winger, almost in Trossard ilk. Stay on to the end of the video. We'll be speaking about that. Gets into the box, attacks the far and near post, arrives for cutbacks, gives you a goal threat, demon from set pieces. Arsenal don't just need another pretty footballer. They need someone who actually occupies goal-scoring areas. So ultimately, this tells us box threat, far post arrivals, direct running, shots inside the area, someone who makes defenders defend their own goal and keeps them on skates. Arsenal have enough players who can receive, combine, and recycle possession. This is the stuff I just said is what we need more. So don't use this stat like, and suddenly accuse me of saying Zolis is Vinny, and all of those kind of things. But context matters. And then you look at his XG. Arsenal don't need another winger who just touches the ball outside the box. We need a winger who gets into the box and affects the scoreboard, people. And this is why I'm saying give Zolis a chance. Look at the shot map on screen. He's not just shooting from stupid areas. He gets into the box, he attacks proper zones, and his goals are coming from repeatable positions. It tells you he's a thinker's man footballer. This man isn't just hitting weldies and tricking the data. The XG is 17.74, and he scored 17. So he's not massively overperforming it. He's basically scoring for what his chances say he should score. That tells me the process and the scouting is real, and he gets into dangerous areas on a consistent basis. And he does strike me as a winger with striker's habits. That's actually a good punchline. Zolis looks like a winger with striker habits. I'm here for it, if I'm completely honest. And then you look at, again, 17 goals, 23 assists, 40 goal involvements in around 3,000 odd minutes. He's productive in areas that matter. On screen, you'll see a lot of red goal dots inside and around the box. The purple assist lines show he's creating from different zones, wide left, inside left, cutbacks, passes across the box, and final balls into dangerous areas. It's not just a winger doing stepovers on the halfway line and inconsistent decision-making. This shows you that there's some method to the madness. He doesn't just receive the ball, he progresses it. He doesn't just process it, he produces at the end of it. And then you look at his progressive carries. This tells me Zolis is not just standing on the wing waiting for his midfielders, whether that be Rice, Odegaard, whoever's out there to find him. This brother actually travels with the ball, picks it up and moves the team up the pitch. And what I like about the map on screen, most of his carries are on the left side and the left half space. But he's not only hugging the touchline, he comes inside, he drifts diagonally, and he attacks central areas. Naturally, this matters, but I'll spell it out because he's able to carry and progress the ball through pressure, break lines when dribbling, provoke havoc, attack the box from wide areas, and give us territory without needing 20-odd passes. And that's ultimately why I think his profile interests me. Zolis gives you ball carrying from the left. He can receive wide, drift inside, and move Arsenal again 20, 30 yards up the pitch. That's different from just being a winger who waits, recycles it, and there's a deer in the headlight. Lord knows we've got that, people. And the headline, I guess, is simple. Zolis is a left winger. 80% of his minutes came there. But the interesting bit, again, he doesn't just hug the touchline. Club Brugge used him across the front line and even inside at times. So Arteta is getting someone who can drift left, drift inside, combine, carry, and attack. Very different players, but he does appear quite similar to be the younger Trossard model, people. It tells me Zolis, if you really look at it, and again, we'll have to see, he's not a mystery box. He's a left winger. 80% of his minutes have come there, but he's also had minutes in the cam, in the right, and up front. So you can see why Arteta, if Trossard was going, would like him. It gives you a main position, but also gives you flexibility across the attacking runs, people, attacking positions. Left wing first, flexible forward second, I guess. And that's, to be fair, that's exactly the kind of profile Arsenal need, if I'm brutally honest with you. He got 8 assists from set plays, 52 chances created from set plays. Now, everybody knows Arsenal have made set pieces a proper weapon. Corner boys in the building, A's up 3 3s up. If Zolis can add another left side, right-footed delivery option from corners, free kicks, dead balls, wide set plays, that's another way of hurting teams. 8 assists from set plays, 52 chances created from such. And no doubt he's going to forever be compared with Trossard. I'm guilty of doing it. Now, there's no way of quantifying it because there's so many mitigating stats, there's so many mitigating factors, I guess, the amount of minutes played, the league, the context is, all those kind of things. But maybe we could use the Champions League as a sample size. Minutes played, Trossard played slightly less. He played 631 minutes to Zolis's 722. Goal contributions, Trossard did more with less. 5 goal contributions, Zolis has 3. Chances created, Zolis created 13, Trossard created 7. Dribbles completed, near enough identical. Zolis had 5, Trossard had 6. Passes ending in the final third, 138 for Zolis, just 80 for Trossard. Successful crosses, 11 for Zolis, just 4 for Trossard. Trossard has better direct goal contributions, so I won't get it twisted. But Zolis is showing he can play Champions League football and still be heavily involved in final third actions, people. So Zolis might not be the superstar Arsenal fans, including myself, want, but the profile's a lot deeper than people think. This don't just feel like a vibe signing. It feels like there's real football logic there. So when people say Belgium league tax, I hear it. When you look at the Champions League comparison with Trossard, he's not looking out of place. More chances created, more final third passes, more successful crosses. Trossard had more goal contributions, so I have to respect that. But Zolis clearly belongs in certain conversations, if I'm honest with you, and playing at a high level with the greatest of respect, then the Belgian league, one of the top 5 European leagues. This is why I'm not calling him the savior, but I'm also not writing him off. He gives you set piece quality, gives you a threat from the left-hand side, seems an intelligent guy. All I'm really interested in is goals, assists, chance creation, and final third involvement, people. I share your frustrations. At 35 million, 24 years of age, playing in the Belgium league, the only thing we've really got is output. No one ain't trying to understand and act like we're experts. But I'm not going to sit here and say I can't compartmentalize. And broadly, I need level raises. I need several additions. We've got our first Premier League after 22 years. Obviously, I don't want to be flashing a pan. I want to do something Arsenal hasn't done in terms of retaining it. Also, I want blockbusters. I want squad depth, especially where you look at the spine/key players of our side. We all know they're good players, but if you type their names in on Google right now, in terms of fitness, based on what we know already, I'm not going to bore you lot. You're a bit nervous around Saliba, around Magalhaes, about Rice, about Bukayo Saka, etc. So again, we need to do all we can. I want to feel how I felt last summer when it was all said and done. Not obviously when it was during. I want to feel like that. Also, on top of that, level raises, squad depth, and things like that. I think the broader question would be, is this it? Because we're frustrated about Rodgers. We're a bit peed off with the fact that we bidded 70 million for Bruno Gomares. And again, it's not a Noni Madueke signing. Respectfully, Zolis, I ain't seen 10 games from you, but from what I've seen, I got more faith in you than him. But I think there's something similar in that. Granted, Zubamendi was done by July, but where the attackers were concerned, Noni was first through the door. Eze and Gyökeres, it was looking shaky. Obviously, you judge it very differently when Zolis, or in that case, Noni Madueke, is part of the collective. And I feel that's where I'm vexed about. The market isn't closed, so we'll hold all our hopes of those level raises. That helps us do one better in the Champions League, retain the Premier League, have the depth to cope with 50+ games at club level. And the bunch of our players are internationals or emerging in that. So you're now looking at 70 games for club and country. Even if you look at based on last season, the season before that, obviously the World Cup, and this season, there's a lot of football, the international break, there's a lot of games for club at country level, and so on and so forth, people. So, yeah, give the man a chance, man. He might not be the Hollywood name, but not every good signing has to be Hollywood. I would hardly say Lomberg and Ray Parlour with that, and I love them to bits. They're Arsenal legends for me. Sometimes you need players who are hungry, productive, and ready to prove they belong at a bigger club. Zolis has had ups and downs. He's had a footballing education. He's been in Germany, England, Belgium, Greece. He's had bad moments, good moments, hype, setbacks. At 24, you're not buying a finished superstar of sense, people, bar the ones we want. You might be buying a player who has learned enough scars to now explode, if I'm completely honest. And I would say I'd leave you with this. Don't look at Zolis like a random 35 million gamble. Look at him like as a 24-year-old who's already been humbled enough by the game, adapted across leagues, and might now be ready for his proper big club opportunity and, more importantly, moment. Don't blame Zolis for not being a statement signing. Blame Arsenal if he becomes the only statement, people. Again, for more in-depth stuff, look at the 2 videos I did around Zolis. You'll see them on screen. I'll put the links in. And again, people, there's no doubt that we're going to do more business. But right now, would I say Zolis is enough? 100%, I wouldn't. So, yeah, man, what do you lot make of the Zolis signing? What do you make of our business or lack of so far? Are you optimistic about superstars? Check out the rest of the other vids. One love for listening.